What up, studs? What's going on? Kunal here, Bulls on Wall Street. Guys, we'll get down to business. I ain't going to mess around too much today. The market's playing out the way we thought. We are getting a nasty little pull. At the moment, the structure of the market has not changed, but we have some red flags. We've got some pullbacks, and this is kind of playing out just the way we thought, right? If you look at all the last videos for the last 2 weeks, I've been saying in the beginning of 2024, we're probably going to get a little bit of a pullback as people start selling some stocks, right? Pay their taxes, but also you're just so extended in terms of market breadth. This was bound to happen. It is not the end of the world. The market is down 1% today. You know, the SPY was down 0.8% today. The IWM was down a little bit more, and that's something to be worried about. But at the moment, you know, the structure of the market is still holding up, but the big, hairy, Indian, Gujarati but is that we are starting to break below some supports on the IWM, and we're going to have to be cautious. Tomorrow is going to be a big tell. Do we finally get maybe an oversold bounce going into the end of the week, or do we keep bleeding off? If we keep bleeding off, there's going to be a lot of people throwing up, wishing they didn't diamond hands so much. Every time the market gets bullish and you see these big thrusts, the diamond hands people come out. And it's only when, right, things turn, people start to sell on top of each other. And, you know, we saw a little bit of this today in the IWM. So we'll be careful here going into tomorrow. But let's take a look at the indexes here, just kind of get a gauge of the levels and then make a game plan for tomorrow. So the QQQs, we've got a 4-day pullback. I'm thinking 395 is a spot. 400 is a mini support. But I think 395 is a spot. If not, then we have this kind of former breakout level at 390. Somewhere in this zone of love, you know, we should be able to find some support. We've not triggered oversold yet, whereas 22 stochastics on the 533. But we're getting closer, right? I like to get that thing sub 20 when I'm doing bounce trades. So we are getting that. We got a nice 4 days. Relieve some tension, guys. There was so much overbought nature. When we look at market breadth, we've been looking at this chart of the T2108 for quite some time. And I've been telling you, I've been watching this damn indicator for a decade plus. Anytime you get to 80 and above, like the market pulls back, you know, even like we just tapped into it or, you know, got really, really close. Now you're starting to pull back. That's the percentage of stocks over your 40-day moving average. It's a signal of, hey, we got so many good-looking stocks that the market's got to pull back, and we're starting to see that. We had a decent-sized pullback in a lot of names here, and we still need some work to do to really set up a good 2024. But we're getting there, and we needed this, right? Did you really want to buy? Did you really want to play coin at $200? UPST at $60? No, like we needed some pullbacks here. So we'll kind of keep an eye on things. A couple other things that I am watching here. Market breadth. See, we didn't get a huge amount of selling, and that's why I don't think it's like the end of the world type of pullback so far. We haven't gotten a huge amount of selling. When you look at like 4% breakdowns versus breakouts, you know, if you start to see like 1,000, 2,000, you know, in the sells, then, you know, I'm getting a little bit worried, but we're not necessarily there yet. So far, it just looks like, hey, we're having a pullback that we expected, and we have some fun shorting for a little bit. Let's watch these levels on the QQQs. On the IWM, this is what worries me, guys. This is what worries me. IWM broke under its breakout spot, right? Now, it's just 1 day under, right? 1 day under does not necessarily mean failed breakout. I would like to see one more day close under there before I would get a little bit worried. Like we got down to here, then, you know, all the bounces into this level we may have to, right, look at as bearish. So we'll have to be careful on the IWM. It is oversold, but this is a 2.5% pullback. 2.67 is a little bit more mustard than I personally like on a pullback. The velocity was incredible today. You got an uptick in volume. So that does give me a little bit of heebie-jeebies here. And guys, whether you're bullish or bearish, we like this IWM to move around a lot, right? The problem with 2023, even though it was an awesome year, was that it was led by 7 stocks, right? Your big 7. And they really kind of, the range on them really contracted by the end of the year because they were up so much. right? You want to see this IWM really moving around so that we have other stuff to trade, right? It's a lot more fun to trade Mara and Coin and Affirm and CVNA and UPST than it is NVIDIA, right? It just is. They have more range, but they're still liquid and all this kind of stuff. So I think this is something we'll watch tomorrow. I'm, cautiously optimistic. I got to go to Phoenix for a wedding, but I'll be checking in a little bit tomorrow. I'll trade the open, and then we'll see what's going on. So let's watch this thing. We don't have a clear spot to bounce now on the SPY. We filled this gap, though, and I think that's important. That was a magnet. And so we'll see tomorrow. You're triggering oversold on this. We need this to hold. Otherwise, it's abort, 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 right? And then it's not all systems is go. And, we've had fun shorting the last couple of days. Man, epic trades on, right, Mara and Coin the last few days. I mean, hot damn. 2 beers in a bucket. I pikered these because, well, I am piker. I carved that into my chest hair every single day. But money's money, baby. Money is money. So we'll see. We've got some, levels here. This is not a garden variety pullback, though. So, right, we'll see if some of these levels start to hold on Coin. Let's get into the watch list, and we'll have ourselves just a little bit of fun here. So, first things first, right? If you notice, like if you look at kind of your liquid gainer scan, most of the stuff that was running today was like kind of micro cap, micro slut stocks. That's, you want to see some other names really pushing around, right? Like, it's nice to see the Zimgo. This is a little shipper company. But otherwise, like, you didn't see that much going, right? Now, there are some good setups here. Like, I really like this METC. A little bit thin on volume here, but you got flat top breakout. Something like this, a week open tomorrow. Like, that's going to give you probably some good quesos. This is the ultimate turd, this Saba, but it held at the 200 SMA. You may see something like this bounce. Biotech's a little bit more impervious than regular tech stocks when the market pulls back. So just something to kind of be mindful of. This SU Suncor had a nice day, but oil stocks suck the trade. And then, look, there wasn't not really that much going on here, right? When Eli Lilly's, leading the way, you've got to be a little bit careful. But going on the other side of this, look at this thing. It moved 4%. You've got range expansion coming in here. On these larger names, range expansion is a huge thing, right? When you get a consolidation, you come out of it, the range starts to expand. Hot damn. This is normally a 1.73% ATR. You had a 4% move today. Look at the options on this freaking thing, man. This is Eli Lilly, man. It only moved 4%, but you got because it's just so much of an abnormal root move, right? The ATR expanded 2x. You got 1,000% gain on these 615s. Look at this. $1 to 750, 610. And guys, by the way, we're doing live option classes today. Levi is going live 8 o'clock. You guys are welcome to join for students of ours in the options program. He's been crushing it today and this whole past 13 months that he's been running that service. But I would add this Eli Lilly. This is, once again, this is probably something you got to trade the options on. I would not come in and try to trade shares on this thing because it's just going to move probably 2-3%. You can see here, these kind of oil and gas, some of these midstream, some of these shippers are going. If you don't mind something a little bit lighter on liquidity, you got to break out, pull back. Sometimes you got to play the cream of the crap, right? And it's good price action on this. You got big push, pull back into the bone zone, right? Holds at the VWAP. You get a little bit of a push into the close. Nothing sexy, but these oil names have been going, right? Oil was up 3.5% today. So you got, right, a big range break on MPC. Right? We got to play this tomorrow, right? Range break on MPC. I like this one. Possibly a little Sting Nation. Guys, these are the names that you got to really be a part of. Look at this SBLK. You got flat top breakout setting up here. Over 22. It's a Buenos. It's beautiful. It traded well. That's the big thing too, right? When you have a stock that you're putting on your watch list, how does it trade, right? How does it move? Is it respecting the principles that you trade with? For me, the principle I trade with, I like opening thrust because I like to trade the open, right? I like those midday orderly pullbacks and then the end of day show and go, right? Hold at the VWAP, hold at the 50 MA, maybe a fib, and then you can go and really have some fun. Look at the gogglers. right? So make a, I would do sometimes a little bit of a deep dive on some of these, oil and gas names that I got a couple already for you. Hey, by the way, this SYTK, this is a biotech stock, but this is your hourly chart. I would keep an alert on this one. It's got sick range on it. If it takes out this trend line here, set an alert here like at 88, some change. If it takes that out, like you may see like a good $4 or $5 pop out of it really quickly. If the chasers come in at the open, watch how it sets up pre-market. But if it starts to make a big base and it's like edging near that, that kind of 88, 89 breakout spot, the chasers will come in and push it because all the pikers buy the first candle. And, you get probably a big spike, $4 or $5, and then it fades off. Look at this EOG, right? You got some big moves. Look at this. You got potential range expansion coming on CNQ. Man, I like all these, all right? So, keep an eye on some of those. You don't need many. I go in with just a couple of those bad boys. MPC looks good. Sting looks good. Lily's a biotech. But, keep a couple of these bad boys, on here. Now, let's talk about some other names here that I think are setting up. Let's take a look here. I got AMD. So you got flat top breakout here, and then a nice 3-day pullback into support. Let's see a little bit of weakness tomorrow. Let's say about 131, 132, a little flush, show and go. I think we're ready to go on something like that. If we get a weak open, NVIDIA, I hate this stock, but it does tend to bounce off the 50-day moving average, of recent go. Let's see if we get a little, I got alert set at 469, a gap down into 469. You may get a very, very quick reversal, 5 points, 10 points, hey, beggars can't be choosers, right? When the market's pulling back. So I think something like that, right on support. Netflix, you got your 50-day moving average at 458. So gap down on this one, a tap to the 50-day moving average, or at least a little bit close. You should be, good to go for a little bit of a bounce. The old Google had relative strength today. You pull back into the 50. Now watch and see if it remounts this old flat top breakout. If it does, then I think we'll have ourselves some good quesos on something like that. Apple's obviously oversold, but sucks to trade. I'd leave the rest of the large caps alone. Let's talk about a couple that I think are going to get bouncy if we pull back. Right, Uber, 1, 2, 3, 4 days. A weak open on this. You got the candle almost completely outside the lower Bollinger Band. A gap down on this probably triggers a quick reflex bounce at the open, 15, 20, 30 minutes. You get a couple points out of it. I think that one is setting up here. UPST, this little turd has gotten nasty. Right, down 10% today. If it gaps up tomorrow, it's a leave alone, guys. If it gaps up tomorrow, you got to probably keep bleeding it off. But if it gaps down tomorrow, anywhere around here, this is the old breakout spot, got to try for a bounce, baby. You got it, right? At some point, we've been shorting, the last few days, but got to try for a bounce on day 4, day 5 of a move to the downside. Whew, guys, I made myself a new face cream, by the way. I am feeling zesty. Use a little beeswax, some vitamin E, some jojoba oils, some cocoa butter. Get a double boiler. Melt these things together with a little rosehip oil, some peppermint. Some peppermint essential oils to kind of get the tinglies going. Maybe a little eucalyptus, right? Then pour a little distilled water on it and then get to like a little frother and get it going. Oh, man. You'd be glowing like a mother. Look at this glow I got going. It's crazy. I can't stop looking at my stuff. I can't even stop. Look at these stocks. I'm glowing so much, man. I'm glistening. It's like jizzy right now, right? It's like I got just a nice jizzy glow to it. Oh, man. UPST, dude. Me gusta, me gusta. If only on gap down. CVNA, right? You're getting pretty oversold here. Nice stochastics. But only on gap down. I want to see this thing retest this flag breakout here. And then only on a gap down. If it gaps up, it's a no-go, right? If we need shorts, I think this firm's still got a lot of room to fall, right? It looks kind of like coin where it's just like so extended. And then, right, you got this deep, deep pullback. deep, you got a 3-day pullback, but you just broke under the 20 SMA. You got so much room. The lower Bollinger Band's 36. The 50-day moving average is 33. Very, very extended. I think something like that would be, pretty good. When you look at when you're trying to kind of find things to bounce or fade, right? Kind of take an overall picture of these things. We're going to have 2 different watch lists. You need some shorts. You're going to need some longs, right? We got some of these for the big caps. I want the ones on the 50-day moving average, right? For the mid caps, I want the ones that are down the most, right? And only on a gap down. So down the most is your UPSTs, right? Down the most is your CVNAs. And then our third bucket, right? We've got Lilly and then some of these, oil stocks. I think that'll be good too. So just something to kind of be a little bit mindful of. I'd stay away from some of these more speculative kind of names that don't have the liquidity. We need liquidity on these pullback trades. See this at four stochastics right now. 50-day moving average. Oh, if this opens up at 20, I think we got a nice bounce on this thing, all right? So we need give me a gap down, we're shredding, right? Give me a gap down, we're shredding. Guys, if we get a gap up or just a small gap up, I think we may get a little bit more chop. Then we get maybe a Friday. We'll see if we get a little bit of juice on Friday. So guys, let me know if you guys have any questions. Take care. Remember, buckets, right? Your buckets. You got the oil stocks, those kind of range expansion plays like Lilly. Then you got your oversold mid caps. And then you have your 50-day moving average bounces for the large caps. That's your NVIDIA, Netflix, possibly AMD, even though it's not on the 50-day moving average. Comprendes? Comprados? Guys, give me one of those thumbs ups. Give me a little, a little love once in a while, man. I'm lonely. I'm needy.